Hi, today we're going to talk about watch winders. And what we have here are a number of different winders, but only three brands. One is Barrington, I'll just use as a point of reference for a low-cost winder. The next is Wolf, right here. And the other two are Orbita. And we're mainly going to be concentrating on Wolf and Orbita, but I'll have the Barrington here just for compare and contrast on what you get in a low-cost winder and what you don't get in a low-cost winder that a good winder has. So anyway, my experience has been with watch winders. About 20 years. I've owned 20 or 30 of them, maybe 6 or 7 brands. I'm narrowing down my collection. I've sold some, returned some, and frankly the low-cost ones all broke. So I don't have to worry about them. I had just junked them. But anyway, so from this Barrington is some Japanese parts, Japanese motors, made in England. Very nice, compact design. You can see cuff comes in and out. But what you get in some of these is kind of funky cuff arrangements in low-cost winders. This is kind of plasticky and kind of spins back and forth. And this holds it securely in place, which is better than most, but not the best design in my opinion. But you get what you pay for type of thing. Controls are on the back instead of the front. And so what ends up happening is you've got to control the turns per day and the on and off from the rear, which is kind of a pain. But nevertheless, I have a watch that just sits on here and I don't worry about it. So it's okay. So that's the reference point for the low cost side. I just have one of these left of the low cost ones and I kind of like it, but it doesn't compare to these. So on Wolf, the Wolf winders are very nice. I mean, they're fairly quiet. There's a wide variety of price points. There's some with adequate storage, like here. You'll see that this holds 3 watches very nicely. They have delayed start. They have specific turns per day. And so does Orbita and other models, but these models are a different design and different purpose. But anyway, you see on the cuff design, when you move up to Wolf and Orbita, cuff design is very nice. Just take it off the watch. Very nice design. Only negative side of their cuff design is this hard plastic that you're taking your watch over. If you're very careful like I am, I've never scratched a watch yet, but I know people that have. So you have to be careful of that. So that's the deal. Doesn't stretch the pins. Collapses very nicely, and they have 2 size cuffs for you. So this snaps in compared to what it used to do. The old Wolf winders, they did not snap in, and I had a bad experience. The Swiss watch fell off, fell onto my bookshelf, and then onto the floor. So turns out it was okay, but very tough. But anyway, you have turns per day and a digital screen here. You have delayed start on and off over here with this button. And on this side, you have directional changes. So you'll have anywhere from clockwise, counterclockwise, and both. Over here, you're going to have delayed start and off and on. And you can delay 6, 8, 12, 18 hours type of thing. And so it'll spin in about another 5 seconds because of the delayed start. So anyway, on the other downside, I guess, if you look at this is plastic. For a $500 watch winder, $400 to $500 to me should be glass. Operation's a little funky. You've got to hold one, hold the other, take it from there. This is fake leather. This is nice veneered wood. Very classy, very functional. Battery life is 6 hours on regular D cells, 6 months on D cells. Alkaline, and twice that they claim 12 months on lithium. And you can also plug it in. Now here on the Orbita side, I have this here as a reference for the old and new Orbita type designs. This is the rotor wind. I've had it 6 years. Lithium batteries. Finally changed the batteries after 6 years. Works great. And on-off switch, 1 turn per day setting, or only 1 setting for turns per day, and then you have it on, you turn it on, it'll delay a little bit, and this is kind of timed out, so eventually that'll start to turn and then release the watch. So you can see a very nice design, but the concept here, and it's a similar concept here, only with 2 settings, gently rotates the watch. So every, it's a 24/7 operation, and every 10 minutes your watch is going to turn and free float, so to speak, like that. Nice design, beautiful, and for 6 years old, it still looks brand new. So very nice. Now the Sienna 1, this is a beautiful watch winder. It's burl wood. This is a Sienna style, 1 watch inside, off and on switch here. But this has 2 settings for rotation. There's an 8-minute interval setting that's 1,200 to 1,300 turns per day, which I don't use because I don't have watches that require that. All my watches work on the 12-minute interval, which uses less battery life, and is 800 to 900 turns per day. That's the sweet spot. So this is the very simple design, and very quietly will rotate similar to this, and then oscillate, free floating as well. So anyway, and you can set the turns. So again, quiet operation. The cuff design on this I think is the best in the marketplace, and it's the simplest. So what you have is you take your watch off, and you have a nicely designed, long-lasting sponge that fits your watches, and it's amazing how well it works. They have 2 size sponges. This is a standard size, works for me. I have a 7¼ inch wrist, so works very nice. Goes back in very nicely. It doesn't get any better than that. Believe me, I've tried, as I said, many winders, and this is a great design. Glass again, beveled glass, burl wood. Fit and finish is really next to none. Brass hinges, very nice. And it's hard to say anything on the con side on either one of these brands. But, on the older style rotor wind, you had 1 setting, which worked fine for me for all my watches, but for some people that have exotic watches, I guess, and depending on the turn per day requirement, which, by the way, you can get on the Orbita site, so you can see what your turns per day should be, and they list just about any watch on there and any movement. So anyway, some single winders are large, like this one, so you need, like, I think it's 12.5 inches to open that on a shelf. Fortunately, I have a 13-inch shelf. It works great. You've got to fully engage the cuff holder on the old one when you're changing it out to make sure it engages, but that's just common sense, I think. Storage is limited on most of their watch winders, although here, as I mentioned, you can put watches or rings or a couple watches and rings in it, but that's not what they're going for. They're high quality, high reliability, and so forth. So that's the Orbita. Again, Sienna 1, the older rotor wind that's been very reliable for me, and the Wolf. This is a Wolf 2.7 Roadster model. So in closing, what I'd like to do is just give you a scorecard. I mentioned this in the beginning, that I want to have you take a look at the way I analytically, probably to an extreme maybe, but here's the Wolf, that's this one, and the Orbita, that's these 2 back here. Design, Orbita is a 9, just easy on-off operation. It's ease of use. It's just slick the way it works, but they're very close in design. In operation, Orbita has the edge handily. In reliability, I have them the same, although I really have had better experiences with the Orbita, but my Sienna 1 is only a few months old. The other one's 6 years old, never had a problem. So the quality of materials, that's the hinges, the cover, the glass, the fit, the finish, plastic, and so forth. I have on that, I have a 10 for Orbita, 8 for Wolf, for the reasons I mentioned. Features and settings, the Wolf is a 9, the Orbita is an 8 on this model, and that's model dependent because they both can give you about what you need, except Wolf can't give you the free floating rotor wind. That's unique to Orbita. On-off watch mounting, by far the Orbita wins there. The Wolf's a 7. Visual appeal, 9 on the Orbita, 8 for Wolf. Quiet motor, they're both quiet. They both do a good job. They're both about the same. Desire to purchase again, I would probably still buy another Wolf, but most likely I would buy an Orbita again. And customer service, they're both a 10. So overall, 92 for Orbita and 80 for Wolf. And my winder of choice is really Orbita. So I hope that gives you some perspective and you understand where I'm coming from. And I've experienced a lot of these and thrown a lot of the cheap ones away. So if you have a choice and you have the funds, I would rather you wait and buy a very good winder such as these rather than try to save a couple of bucks and gain a lot of headaches if you buy a cheaper imported winder. So that's it for today. Thanks very much for listening. I appreciate it, and I hope you make great choices and hope you're as excited about watch winders and collecting as I am. It's great. Thanks. See ya.